A miraculous turnaround from the brink of defeat. Tearing through the clouds, American dive bombers unleashed a rain of death directly into the heart of the unsuspecting Japanese fleet. There was no time to react. The sky rained fire, turning the proud steel giants into floating graveyards. The deafening roar of engines was drowned out only by the screams of the dying fleet. Then came the fatal 5 minutes. Akagi, Kaga, and Soryu. That was all the time it took for 3 of Japan's supposedly invincible aircraft carriers to be reduced to a blazing inferno. Decades of naval supremacy erased in the blink of an eye. The blazing inferno painted the Pacific sky with the colors of doom. Thick, black smoke of defeat swallowed the ocean. Along with their shattered fleet, the sheer arrogance of the Japanese high command sank deep into the abyss. It was an absolute, inescapable hell. The pride of the empire, reduced to a floating graveyard. Through the cold glass, captains could only watch the desperate, futile struggle to save their dying ships. But aboard the sole surviving carrier, Hiryu, one man refused to break. For him, the time for despair was over. Now, it was time for blood. Our imperial comrades have been lost to the flames. Sink the enemy! Leaving the blazing hell of his sister ships behind, the Hiryu forged ahead into the apocalyptic smoke, completely alone. The once mighty pride of the empire was now reduced to floating ash. Every man aboard knew there was no turning back. Their target was the American fleet, hidden somewhere beyond the dark horizon. The Zero fighters soared low over the waves, a silent storm approaching. They carried the wrath of a dying fleet, and they were hunting for vengeance. "Sir, I'm picking up multiple contacts. They're coming in fast." "Enemy sighted. Commencing attack. Japanese aircraft. Sound General Quarters." June 4th, 1942. At noon, the Japanese counterattack chose its first target, the USS Yorktown. 18 dive bombers descended like a black storm. She was destined to be the ultimate meat shield. Blinded by fury, they came to trade their lives for ours. The bridge could only watch this inescapable hell. Shredded by flak, they refused to turn back, riding their burning coffin straight into the abyss. It was pure, suicidal madness. Skimming the waves, the ruthless swarm closed in. Yorktown absorbed every hit for her fleet. The battered carrier unleashed a desperate wall of lead. Flaming attackers were torn from the sky. Through towering geysers, the zombie ship forged ahead. In the crosshairs, mercy did not exist. Whispering his final vow, he sealed their fate. The fatal payload was dropped. The die was cast. The final blow tore through her heart. She became the ultimate sacrifice, so her fleet could live. Enemy carrier is ablaze. Direct hits confirmed. The enemy carrier is on fire. But she's not finished yet. He was right. She was a floating inferno, but she refused to die. But from the sky, she looked like a floating graveyard. To the enemy, she was already dead. Once again, her crew fought the flames, performing another impossible miracle. Only he sensed the chilling truth. Dead in the water, the crippled giant drifted in silence. As Yorktown clung to life, a silent shadow was closing in. "Dive!" Following the order, the iron beast began its violent descent. Swallowed by the dark abyss, it completely transformed into a silent assassin. Leaving the burning giant defenseless on the surface, the I-168 was rapidly closing the distance. The target was firmly locked. The final execution was at hand. "Prepare torpedoes. Fire!" 2 deadly torpedoes tore through the silent abyss, leaving a trail of inescapable doom. There was no warning, no time for another miracle. The fate of the Yorktown was sealed. The final blow was struck. The unsinkable giant finally bowed to the sea. Revenge begins now. Let's finish this. Vengeance was descending from the clouds. The final target, Hiryu. Like birds of prey, dozens of dive bombers pitched forward, plummeting toward the doomed carrier. The Japanese threw a desperate wall of fire into the sky, but the American pilots did not flinch. They dove straight through the inferno. Panic gripped the Imperial fleet. There was nowhere to hide from the wrath of the heavens. There was no escape. This is for Pearl Harbor. In a matter of minutes, the invincible pride of the Imperial fleet was completely shattered. Hiryu, their last hope, was consumed by a fiery doom, sinking into the cold abyss. 4 Japanese carriers lost in a single day. The Battle of Midway was over, and the tide of the Pacific had turned forever.